So let's test this conditional template out by submitting it twice, once creating a virtual machine which has a public IP, and once again where we do not specify the DNS label prefix so that it shouldn't create that, and will define the NIC differently as a result. You'll notice that in the output section I have removed all of the properties within that object. That's because we have the public IP address output as one of those outputs. So just to make life simpler, I've removed that for the minute. Okay, so let's open up the integrated terminal. I'm going to go into the Lab4 folder where our files are sitting, and I'm going to create a Lab4 resource group and put that into West Europe as per normal. Okay, and then that will come back. And as I'm deploying a couple, I'm going to create myself an alias. This is one of the things you can do in Bash. So I'm going to do an alias, and I'm going to make my alias called deploy, and that is going to be set to AZ group deployment create, and I'm not going to specify name or parameters because I want to be able to control those. But in terms of the resource group, I'm going to default that to be whatever folder I'm in at the moment. So I'll make that the base name of whatever we print for the working directory where we are at the moment. So that should return lab4. And then I'm going to specify my template file as Azure deploy.json. Okay, so that'll just save me a little bit of typing in a second. So you can do that, and if I do alias deploy, you can see that's been set successfully. Okay, so let's then deploy using that whole command. So imagine that's been replaced by that whole command, and then we're going to set the name for the first deployment job as public, and for that we're going to specify our parameters file. So that will be at Azure deploy.parameters.json, and I'm also going to have a couple of inline overrides specifying the VM name to be public and the DNS label prefix to be RI Cheney public VM. Okay, so let's submit to that. I'm also going to put in a no wait, so I'm just going to let that trundle on in the background, and that should submit the job with those two within it. I'm then going to do exactly the same again, but I'm going to change some of these to, for starters, we'll get rid of the DNS label prefix. I'm going to change that to private, and I'll change that one to private. Not a great naming convention for your virtual machines, but it should show what we've got. And if we do a deployment list for our resource group, Lab4, then you should see the two jobs are sitting within there. Let's do that as a table so it's a bit more readable. And there's our two running jobs. So we'll have a look at those in a minute once it's created. But in the meantime, we should be able to have a look at the resources and list those out for our resource group. By the way, you can see I'm using the resource group switch a lot of times. Probably want to use AZ configure to make that default if you're doing a lot of commands in a resource group, and specify that, and again have that as a table. So hopefully it started creating some of the resources. If you remember, the public IP addresses are not contingent on anything else. They've got no dependencies, so they should be created straight away. So you can see the public NIC and the public PIP is being created, but we only have a private NIC. So that's already been looking quite good. I'll sort those so they come in a slightly better order. Okay, so there you can see that for the private one we've got a NIC, for the public one we've got both a NIC and a PIP, so that's coming through quite neatly. Good.